Let's chat about the most important part of a cold call, your opener. So in this one, we'll talk about why openers are important, tonality, and what makes a good opener, what makes a bad one. Then in the following modules, we'll get more tactical in terms of exact opener scripts, what to use for different scenarios, what works in different markets, what I like to use depending on the market I'm calling into. And then we'll finish off with a little bit in terms of trigger events and using this as part of the reason for your call. So first and foremost, your opener is everything, because if you cannot nail the first 10 seconds of that call, you're getting hung up on, or the prospect might hear you out if you're lucky, but you've already set the pace as a negative tone for the rest of your conversation. So openers set the standard. In the first 10 seconds, yes, your script matters, but your delivery of the script is far more important. When a prospect picks up a phone and it's an unknown number, they don't know who's calling, they're in defensive mode. They're trying to figure out what's going on here, and they're trying to work out in the first 10 seconds, are you a telemarketer? Are you someone that's here to waste their time? Or are you someone that's actually here to add value, and are you worth hearing out? So what we're trying to do is come across as human, we're conveying confidence, and we're opening up the rest of the conversation so the prospect feels comfortable talking to us, especially if we're going to get into some deep pain points and problems about their personal situation or their business, etc., etc. So, key thing about this, and I always keep banging on about this, is tonality. It is absolutely king, and your opener must be rehearsed. You need to treat your opener almost like a work of theater. It shouldn't come across as you just saying a statement or how I'm talking to you right now. Your opener must convey a bit of energy, it must have some confidence, and you must use tactics as part of it. And by tactics, I mean having pace control, having pauses, having the right tonality, and even using tactical grinning and smiling yourself to influence your tone of voice. A good opener isn't you just saying a quick line and hoping they hear you out. A good opener is actually using a bit of psychology to get them to put down the guard and then open up the rest of the conversation. So, for example, my go to opener, and we'll cover this in the next module as well, especially for Australia and New Zealand, sounds like this. Hey, John, Rashad here. How's the morning going? Yeah, good, thanks. Hey, look, you might hate me, but actually a bit of a cold call here. Do you have 18 seconds for me to quickly explain? So you'll notice there's a few things going on that are very intentional. First of all, the pace. It starts off a little bit punchy, and then once they've asked me who's calling, how are you, what is this about, the second line is a little bit slowed down to allow them to process what's going on. There's pauses for that same reason. Each time I pause, it's rehearsed. It's there for a reason. It's to make it sound more impactful. It's to give them half a second to digest what I just said. And you'll notice as well, I'm forcing myself to smile at certain parts of the call to convey through tonality, almost like, sorry to do this to you, but this is why I'm calling. Do you want to just hear me out? And you'll be surprised. I've had so many prospects who would typically never answer a cold call, and they've flat out told me, look, I usually don't appreciate unsolicited calls, but since you've been good about it, yeah, what is this? What do you have to say? So this is just my example. I'm not saying you have to use this. Depends on obviously your solution, your style, your market, all those types of things. But this is just showing you an example why it's important to rehearse your opener and why it's important to actually incorporate these tactical things in there. Think about your pace, your pauses, your tonality. What can you do physically, whether it's moving your hands or smiling or grinning or whatever you need to do? What can you incorporate to make that opener feel a bit more alive? Now, before we get on to the next module and we start talking about actual tactics and scripts, there's something I do want to flag, which is on openers, me personally, I like to open with my name only, not the company. This goes against a lot of sales training and this will create some tension. So this is why I'm saying it's optional. It's just my personal style in terms of how I operate. So feel free to disregard and continue using your company name. But the reason why I prefer not to drop company in that very first line is that most telemarketers do this. So it triggers resistance psychologically. Whereas if I'm just opening with my name, that's more familiar. If I'm getting a call from my mum and I've just changed numbers, etc., she's just going to say her name. She's not going to say where she's calling from, right? So a little bit of psychology in there, and then I like to drop the company in the second block, which is the reason for the call. So I open with just my name, and from there, once they've given me a bit more permission, I'll be like, I'm calling from XYZ, reason I was reaching out, and I drop it there. Once again, completely optional. Experiment, see if it suits your style. But I just wanted to flag this prior to going into the next modules where we actually get into scripts and tactics, in case you're wondering why some scripts might not have company as part of the opener.